Hi, and welcome to Chicks Talking Pics. If you haven't joined us before, thanks for finding us. This channel is a bi-weekly image discussion with two nature nuts. We review images sent in by viewers like you and share our ideas on how they might be improved for future competitions or for even display in your home. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Sandy Zelasco, pro photographer, specializing in wildlife and conservation photography. Been in the business of nearly 30 years as owner of Sandra Lee Photography, and I'm signing in from sunny San Diego. You can find out more about me and the photo workshops I lead by visiting investinnature.org. Hi, Jenny. How are you today?
I'm good. Hi, Sandy. And I'm also from sunny San Diego right now. I'm Jenny Wolf. My formal education is in biology. I spent many years in restoration ecology and nearshore fisheries. Photography has always been a part of that work. Additionally, I'm a commercially rated hot air balloon pilot, so you might find me at a balloon event if you happen to come across one. You can see my work at wolfheartimages.com.
All right, super. So Jenny, let's tell our viewers what this channel is all about.
So what we're doing is when you submit your images to competitions, you don't always know what goes on behind the scenes with the judges. And so Sandy and I want to give you a peek at that discussion that we have when we're judging photos. We're hoping this will help you improve your photography, make you look at your own work more critically, and be more intentional when you're photographing as well as post-processing your images.
Yeah, super, exactly. Jenny and I have been judging for quite a number of years at places like the San Diego County Fair, which sees about 10,000 images or entries each year. And we came up with this idea of sharing our knowledge because we feel so many images just miss the mark of being accepted or placing in competitions. So Jenny, let's get started. Let's take a look at that first image today.
Okay.
All right, this image is sent in by Susan Newlin. So thank you, Susan, for sharing your image today with us. Lovely image. I love the eyes. You've done a great job in processing those eyes. If you did anything, which I think you might have, this is lovely. It's nice eye contact with this tiger, and you can see lots of detail in the whiskers. The lighting is interesting. It's just hitting its head, and the body, this is a fortunate thing. The body is a little bit darker, so it really draws our attention to the eyes and the head of this animal. I love the ear tufts, the whiskers. A few things I might suggest is it's a little bit noisy. I think there's some, well, I know there's third-party programs out there like Topaz, Denoise, and that may take some of that noise out of your image. And I'm talking about some of the noise in the eyes. I can see some speckling in those eyes, and I'd like to really see a really clean eye. And the grass is behind. Those, I would either suggest darkening those down somewhat so they're not as distracting, or blurring them a little bit maybe in post-processing. But those are a couple of the things I thought of when I saw this image. Your depth of field is great. I like the nose all the way through the eyes. They're all in focus. I think it kind of softens up when it gets onto the forehead. So Jenny, what do you think?
Yeah, everything you said is right on the mark. Another place the noise is showing up for me is right here in the chin.
Mm-hmm.
It's really noisy right there. But yeah, the grass is a little distracting because how the structure and the noise in it makes it stand out more than I want it to. But other than that, I think you pretty much hit the mark on everything. The noise is the biggest issue for me. The eyes are just piercing. It's hard to take your eyes off of them.
Sure. Let's look and see what the settings were on this, Jenny. So Susan shot this at 1/250th. 2500th of a second. Sorry about that. When I put the number in, I didn't put the slash, I put a period. So 1/2500th of a second at f7.1, and ISO was at 3200. And that, of course, we know is why, most likely why there's noise. Another thing that might give you too much noise in an image is if you're exposing to the dark side, or when you look at your image on the back of your LCD screen, you like to see a nice saturated image, but that's not how the pros shoot. They shoot to the right of a histogram, which makes the image on the back of your LCD screen look washed out, in some circumstances. But for good reason, because now you're playing, when you get into post-processing, you're playing with pixels that have more information and they don't have as much noise in them. Whereas if you're post-processing an image that is dark to begin with, there's a lot of noise that will show up. And yeah, I would shoot to the right. Jenny, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. The shooting to the right, if you use your histogram, if you can display that on your LCD, that'll give you a better sense of what's going on, rather than just looking at the JPEG that your computer or your camera renders on your screen.
Mhm.
The other thing I was wondering, because this is square, it must have been cropped in, and if it was cropped from a much larger position image, that would bring out some of that noise a little bit too.
Yeah, and it's almost just maybe cropped a little too tight. Like the whiskers at the bottom are
Right,
maybe a little cut out. So
a little bit.
maybe back off a little bit from that crop. Who knows? I don't know what's around that animal, so it's up to the photographer. But thank you for sending that in, Susan. Great job. All right, Susan sent us a second image, and Jenny, you're going to take this one first. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is great timing on getting this dolphin jumping out of the water. It's nice and sharp. I like the texture in the water. It's, yeah, in what I was looking at, it looks like the focus is on, but I'm not quite sure. It's hard to distinguish the eye sometimes if it's right on focus or not, but it's certainly pretty close. Structure's a little strong. I don't know if she did a little sharpening on it. I'm not sure how much that bothers me though. It's a nice image. I like the lines coming out and the water spray. I don't know. What do you have?
Yeah, I love the action. Just absolutely love the action. I'm kind of assuming there was a second dolphin that's already gone down into the water with that splash behind this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's happened. And I'm gonna show. Let's take a look at the settings that Susan was using on this. Again, I agree with you, Jenny. I think it's a great image, great capture, peak action, super duper. And I love the lines in the water and like the texture, like you're saying in the water. Really, really nice. Depth of field was 4.5, which is interesting. At that distance, and I'm assuming you were quite a distance from this, maybe you were on a boat, I don't know. But I think that is adequate for this subject and maybe the distance for this subject. So good job on that. 0.02 of a second, that is working for you because you've got stopped water action, you've got the dolphin, there's no blur whatsoever. So you've done a really good job with that. So great job on that. I like the crop a lot, and I'm glad you didn't crop into that second splash. I think that even tells more of a story. So,
yeah, and you're still getting the full splash coming off to the right where the tail is coming out of the water.
Right.
This area here. And that's nice having that there too as well.
Yeah, I think this is, I think it's a really lovely image. Competition wise, Jenny, what do you think?
Um, of course, it always depends what it's up against, but I think it would probably get advanced to the next level
Mhm.
in the fair, and then uh, then it would depend on what else is in the up against it. But yeah, it's a great capture. It's got nice lines, nice movement,
Mhm.
action, as you said. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Now, let me just mention this too while we're talking about when Jenny says up against, what it was it up against in the competition. So, we see hundreds and hundreds of images in the competition. So, depends on who your competition is, and that's putting it in for the year or entering for the year. So, so we all can't always say whether it'll do well or it won't do well, but we definitely try to give you a critique that gives you some feedback on what we think it will do. So I would like to see this in the Del Mar competition if Susan is so inclined.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. All right, let's go on to the next image. Again, Susan Newlin sent this in to us, and just cute little roadrunner with some mealy worms. And I think I'm going to go first on
Yep.
this one.
Your turn.
I do. I love the diagonal of the movement in this frame. I like the clean background. Um, the the action, the story about what's happening here with this roadrunner is, he's now picked up a couple of mealworms or grubs or whatever you want to call them, and he's making his way down. You can tell there's movement. He's making his way down the limb. So that's really great because you can see that back leg that's picked up a little bit and off of starting to step forward. So that's really good. I think the framing or the cropping may be just a hair too tight again. That tail, I'd like to see it have just a hair more up in the left-hand corner. But as far as depth of field, let's take a look at those settings, Jenny, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So 1/2000th of a second. Um, that's typical for a wildlife photographer to have their shutter speed up high because you don't know what kind of action you're going to get. So that's great. And again, f4.5, nice aperture for that because you don't want to capture anything in the background, of course, in focus. And of course, your ISO will fall where it needs to go fall. So Jenny, go ahead.
Yeah, everything you said. The only thing that might uh, help this a little bit is the branch or tree trunk that it's on isn't the most attractive. And I might selectively darken that a little bit, um, just because right now the tonal value is pretty much the same as the Roadrunner. And you really want people focused on the Roadrunner and not so much what it's standing on. So I don't think the image be hurt at all by darkening that a little.
Right. And Susan was lucky to have this Roadrunner in a plane of focus so that she could, from the tip of the beak to the tip of the tail, everything's in focus. So
Yeah, yeah,
great job on that.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so that's the end of our images for today. Thank you, Susan, for sending those in. Remember, judging is totally subjective. Our comments come from years of experience, thousands of image reviews, and our own practice in the field. We're hopeful that you can take some of our suggestions, maybe apply them to your images when you feel appropriate, and do well in competitions. And feel free to submit your images to chickstalkingpics at gmail.com. Uh, Make sure they're no larger than 1920 on the longest side and put them in a JPEG format. That would be great. If you want to include your metadata in the details, that's fine too. If you don't want your image critiqued, then don't send one in. So thank you so much for viewers. Jenny, why don't we talk about the next slide?
Okay, and when you're on YouTube and watching one of our videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, the little bell and the all, and that will notify you when our next critique is posted.
All right. Nice doing this with you again, Jenny. All right. And
Yeah.
viewers, thank you so much for sending your work in, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
All righty.
Bye bye.
Bye.